So there's this cool application on Linux called Cameractrls that you can adjust the controls of your webcam on your computer, and it works very well, especially with Logitech webcams. There's one particular feature that's in the advanced category, so you can go to power line frequency, 60 hertz, 50, or disabled. Now I don't really notice the difference, so I'm going to disable it. Now for LED mode, you can choose auto, which is probably what I recommend. So if you turn the video preview off, you can close that. The LED will automatically turn off, and we can minimize this window because we don't need to see it. So now the LED is off. So auto is what I would recommend, but if you want it to always be on, you can change it to on. Now the LED is always on, which is cool. If you want it to always be off, if it bothers you, then yeah, you can just switch it to off. That's okay. If you want it to always blink, that's cool. Yeah, you can have it blinking, and you can change the frequency of the blink. So LED frequency here. So I'm just gonna show my video preview here. So if you want to have it blink there, you can have it set it to 255. You can change the frequency of the blinking. So now we change it to 164, 166. Now you can see that LED is blinking slower. 70, now it's blinking even slower. 39, it's blinking very slow. 18, it's blinking quite slow. And then 0, it's not blinking at all. 4, it's blinking incredibly slowly. 11, so yeah, if you want to have it blink faster, 70. But anyways, yeah, I'm just going to set it to auto. That's the best setting, I would say. It basically just, when you're launching your webcam, if you need to use your webcam for something like Zoom or Google Meet or Teams or whatever else, well, if there's even Teams on Linux, I don't think there is, but you get what I mean. Basically, you'd want it to have, you want to set it to auto, so that the LED only turns on when you're actually using the webcam. So when we close this here, it's gonna turn off the LED because the webcam's not on. But yeah, we'll show the video preview again. So now we can go to capture, and we can adjust settings like resolution and frame rate, basic stuff. We can set it to like some terrible resolution, 480p, frame rate like 10 or something, and that's gonna look really bad. So you can see it's choppy and it's not very good quality. It's pretty bad, but we're just gonna close this preview again, and I can set it back to the full resolution of this webcam, which is 1080p, 30 FPS. That's the best setting I can get. So I'm gonna relaunch the preview. Now it looks much nicer, much smoother, and it's just all around better. Now, so another setting we wanna, so this advanced one, start with desktop portal, relogin required. So basically I think this means that it's going to launch the Cameractrls application when you start up your desktop. So that's cool. And then for color, you have different color presets: blossom, bright, film, forest, glaze, gray, which looks very, it's black and white. Gray, it's unsaturated. Vibrant is saturated. Vivid is way over sharpened. It looks terrible. All of these presets are awful, so we're going to just hit the reset button there, and that resets it to the default value. White balance, you can change that to whatever you want. 6400K is very warm. 2000K is very cool. 4000K is right in the middle, which should work for most scenarios, but we're gonna set it to automatic because I think it looks fine on automatic. Looks good. Brightness, you can adjust that. That looks very overexposed. Brightness 0 looks very dark, so we're gonna hit the reset button again, and we're going to set that down. We're gonna put that on the default, and then for contrast, we can set it to 255. That looks very terrible. Would not recommend. That looks very awful too. That looks grayed out. Yeah, so reset button, reset that to normal. Saturation, I wouldn't mess with that either. That's gonna make it look terrible. So default value 128 for all these is good. Sharpness, that looks very, I don't know if you can see it, but everything looks kind of grainy. So I wouldn't recommend adjusting sharpness either. And then 0 looks very blurry. It looks very soft, and I would just recommend keeping it and all these other settings at 128. And if you want to save all of your settings, you can just hover over it here. It says click to load and long press to save. We are going to long press to save. Now it's going to save that preset to the slot 1, and you can change your settings and save it to other presets as well. Now for exposure, this is an important one. You probably want to keep it at aperture priority mode, which will automatically adjust the exposure to whatever you want. So, or it's automatically going to adjust it for you, so you don't actually have to choose. But if you want manual, you can change it to manual, and that looks overexposed. I don't know what this means, but if you're a photographer down below, or videographer or whatever, you can let me know what that means. But yeah, basically it's just adjusting the exposure time, and 3300 should be a good value. But if you want something that's faster, you adjust it to the left. But I wouldn't recommend going below 20,000, or else you're going to be too dark. But you can see we have better shutter speeds now, better looks smoother now. But you adjust it to the right, it overexposes it. So 3300 is probably good, but we're going to go with automatic. Aperture priority mode is what you want. And then there's exposure dynamic frame rate, which is going to adjust the frame rate automatically. I'm going to turn the lights off so you can see. Okay, the lights are turned off. Now we're going to we're going to see what this does. So dynamic frame rate, okay, it does exactly what it says it does, which is adjusting the frame rate to allow more light. So it's going to drop the frame rate whenever it needs to allow more light to expose the scene a bit more. So we have more exposure, but now the frame rate's dropping a little bit, so you can see that. Now if we turn it off, you're going to see now we have less exposure, but the frame rate is staying at a constant 30, which is probably what you want. I don't think I would turn this on. I would leave it off. But if you want to turn it on, you can. If you record a lot of scenes in low light and you don't really care about the choppy frame rate, and you want the whole scene to be exposed, then yeah, you can turn it on. But for my purposes, I'm just going to leave it off because I don't like to have the choppy frame rate. There's backlight compensation, which I think is supposed to compensate the backlight from like your monitors or whatever, but I really don't notice any difference, so I'm going to leave it. I'll turn it on, why not? Yeah. And then there's zoom, which doesn't do anything on this camera. I'm going to turn the lights back on. Zoom doesn't do anything on this particular webcam because it doesn't support... Oh, actually, wait. No, it does. It does support it. Never mind. Okay, so we actually zoomed in. So here's 500. Here's 100. Okay, so it does support zooming, but it's only between 100 and 200. You go above 200, it doesn't do anything. That's because I think this webcam only supports up to 2x. So 100 just means it's going to be 1x, and 200 means 2x, I believe, and 300 means 3x, and so on, it goes up to 5x. So my webcam only supports up to 2x, so it's not going to do anything past that point. So 200 is the highest it can set it at, but I'm going to put it at 100 because you can see it's reducing the quality. It's zooming in. It doesn't have optical zoom, I'm pretty sure. It's digital zoom, I think, because the quality looks worse. So I'm going to keep it at 100. 100's fine. And then panning and tilting, I don't think it does anything on this webcam either, because, I don't know, it just doesn't have that functionality. It's just straight up. It doesn't tilt or pan or do any of that stuff. Now focus is actually kind of cool. So with focus, it automatically automatic continuous. It will focus for you automatically based off of where you are in terms of the distance from the webcam. So I put my you can see I'm putting my hand close to the webcam. It's adjusting the focus. If I back away, it's going to I think it's going to like increase the aperture or something. So it's going to zoom it out a bit. The closer I get, it'll zoom out more. So you can see there's 60. And then if I zoom in, I'm going to change my phone camera to ultra wide so you can see it. So now you can see I have it's going to adjust it. The closer I get to the webcam, it's going to focus out a bit more. Now it's at 80 because I stick my face in the webcam. Now I'm going to back away and it's going to zoom out a bit more so you can see that. Now, if you want to set it at 0, it's going to always be focused in, on everything pretty much. But if you stick your head close to the webcam, you want the higher focus setting, which is going to zoom it out a bit more. But you can see how it's getting blurry on these higher settings when I'm farther away. The aperture's too high, I believe, or too low, I don't know. But yeah, anyways, you probably want it on automatic, so that's the best setting. Now, if you're wondering what kind of programs there are like this on Windows or Mac, I think the closest thing to this would be OBS. It should work. It does work on both Windows and Mac, so you would, if you're using those systems, which you probably are using one of them, you'd want to use OBS, which has Cameractrls built in. So it's similar to this. It's not quite as simple or streamlined as this, but you're going to see pretty much all, or at least most of these options built in. You're not going to see the LED mode in OBS or things like that, because those are specific to Logitech webcams, I believe. But you will see all these other basic stuff built into OBS. So yeah, if you want something similar to this on Windows or Mac, I would go with OBS, which also works on Linux too, but I like this program in particular. So yeah,